Welcome back to the grind for a very exciting video, the preview of the Lotus Blossom season. We have all been waiting very long for the preview because I know a lot of people were kind of getting bored of this last season. They were looking for something new and exciting, and the preview is finally here. There is a lot of exciting information to share and some big changes that will be coming in this new season. Some good, some bad, some will be good or bad for different players. And so we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the preview of the first two dragons that will be released, and then in a separate video, we'll have the preview for the mythic dragons of this season. Unfortunately, I could not watch the entire stream, but there will be more details coming in the next week, and so keep an eye out for that. We'll cover all the details. Some of the major changes to this season are the branches will be costing quite a bit more. They'll be going up by 4,500 sigils, and there will be 14 additional prizes added to make up, which actually makes up that difference in sigil price, because now dragons go to Eldritch tier, and so they increase the cost of the tier of the branches to match up with that. For some players, especially the lower level players, this is going to be a big challenge for them because 4,500 sigils is quite a bit of sigils. It's going to be 2 or 3 full events for some players who are more casual or lower level players. And if you do not have access to a lot of resources for gold chests and such, then it will be challenging to make up this extra cost if you're going to be spending that extra cost over 3 separate lines to get the mythic. Now, another big change is during the first 2 weeks of the season, we will not only have a discount dragon, but we will also have a discounted base boost, where both of these lines will be 50% discounted for the first 2 weeks. They will only be discounted for the first 2 weeks. So you would have to complete both of them during the discount period if you wanted to get them as cheap as possible. Now, if you have been hoarding and saving a lot of resources, this is going to be great for you. It's actually going to make getting a mythic much easier than it would have been, even though the branches are going to cost more this season. So that may or may not influence your decisions in what you do this season as far as using your resources. And the final major change to this season is now you will need 18 keys to get a mythic dragon, and each line will have 6 keys within it. They will be spread throughout the line. So theoretically, you do not have to complete every single branch in order to get a mythic. Now, the dragons have costed more in the middle, so if you're going to get a dragon, it's probably better to finish the whole line. But if you're going to get your last few keys from a line such as the rider line, then it may be beneficial to do 2 partial rider lines to get those final keys if it's going to save you a little bit of sigils or rubies. Now, I do not know for sure if that will be the case, but when we get it all released, I will definitely look into that and I'll let you know. So with the first week of the new season, we will have access to the discount hunter, a sorcerer, a rider, and a discounted base boost. And you can see the cost of these lines there, 35.5 for the dragons and 34.5 for the other lines. So there still is that 1,000 sigil difference in cost. Now, if you're going to get them in the discount period, the hunter will be about 17 to 18,000 and the base boost would be about 16 to 17,000 roughly. So if you are able to get them both done in the first 2 weeks, you are going to save pretty much a full line worth. So that is a big savings if you are able to get the resources out in the very start of the season. And of course, we will also have access to the 2 mythic dragons, which is a mythic warrior and a mythic invoker. And then during week 6, we will have the additional release of another hunter and another rider. And we will have details on those within a few days before week 6 begins. Now, I don't see a festive dragon there, but I assume they will have one as well. So let's first talk about Asura. I think that's how you say it. It's a legendary fire hunter, and this will be the 50% off discount dragon during the first 2 weeks of the season. So we'll talk about the details of the spells later when that's released, but with the preview, we can get a bit of an idea of how this dragon will work, but we will not know how viable it will actually be. He will first have on the Hunt, which is a rotating or alternating spell between Stalk and Pounce. Pounce will debuff nearby towers so that they will take increased damage, and then Stalk will allow the dragon to cloak, recover ammo, and upon uncloaking, damage nearby towers. So that's pretty cool. You can debuff the towers. Hopefully there's not much of a delay between the debuff and then being able to use Stalk. You can unload your ammo and then use Stalk and then have more ammo when you uncloak. The next one will be Hunter's Mark. That's a well-known spell. You can put it, it's a red spell. You place it on a tower or monument, and when you destroy it, you'll gain health and rage back. The next you'll have White Entrap, which has also been seen before, which will disable buildings for a short duration or until it takes damage. And then it will have a Fire Flak Resist. So I think this dragon has a lot of potential to be quite a valuable dragon, with a way to gain health and rage, a way to debuff towers so that they take more damage, and a way to dodge damage and regain ammo, as well as disable towers as a white spell. So there's a lot of good things going for it, but it will really come down to the cooldowns, the costs, and the time between using the alternating spells. Next, we have Nucifera, the legendary Earth sorcerer that will be released within the first wave but will not be discounted. This is a very cool looking dragon, in my opinion, very unique, and it will have Magic Barrier, which we are familiar with. It shields the dragon from all damage and mage super shots, but Ice Flak towers can disable it. Then this dragon will also have an alternating spell set called the Two Paths that will have Disorder and Tranquility. Disorder will damage nearby towers and cause them to take increased damage, and then Tranquility will damage nearby towers and cause them to deal less damage. And also this will depend on how good this spell is, will depend on how quick you can use these in rapid succession or not. And keep in mind, they are red spells, so the damage and the debuff will only work on towers that are not protected by a red mage. Next, we have Karmic Bolt. This will heavily damage towers in a target area and will restore health on cast, and it's a white spell, so this is good for sorcerer. They need a way to do a lot of damage, and it's also helpful to have a way for it to regain health, and on cast of this spell you'll regain health. And then we'll have Peacebringer, which is a passive summon, which seems similar to other sorcerer's summons that will take some damage and deal some damage, and it also looks like it will cause some increased rage regeneration, and more details on that will be coming. So this dragon seems to have a lot going for it as well as a sorcerer. It has a way to heal some health back. It has a way to deal a lot of damage to probably 2 to 3 towers, I'm hoping, maybe just 1 to 2. And then you could target the red mage to allow you to use Disorder and Tranquility to debuff and damage the towers using that. Plus you have Magic Barrier to give you a little bit of time to avoid the incoming damage before you get shot down. And then we will also have Suresh, the offensive rider. This is a pretty cool looking portrait in my opinion, and I'm pretty excited because, as you can see, this rider will increase Invoker attack. Now, I do not know what the stats will be, whether it will be good or not, but it is the first rider that has Dragon Invoker specific attack boost. So that is very exciting, and it will increase attack, HP, rage regeneration, Dragon EXP, and then the attack or HP of all the different classes. They all have an option there. So that's very exciting because this is the first of its kind. So for me, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do with this season already. I'm going to get the Discount Hunter because, one, I love hunters and I love discounted prizes. Then I'm going to go for the discounted base boost as much as I can during that discount period. And that is going to be key to setting me up for success in the rest of the season. And anyone else who's able to do a little bit more than one full line, that will be immensely beneficial to you for the remainder of the season. So I'm going to get both of those as soon as I can, and then I'm probably going to get this first offensive rider because I think that most likely the second wave will have a defense rider. That is not guaranteed, but it is an assumption that I'm making based on prior seasons. However, we have had 2 offensive riders in a season before, but because this one has Invoker stats, I'm very excited about that. I will probably wait to see the second wave and see what that rider actually has to offer before I start spending sigils on this one. So I don't know about you, but I am very excited about this season. A lot of cool stuff seems to be coming. I'm excited about the new dragons, as I always am. I'm excited to have the potential to start 2 different discount lines within the first couple of weeks, and I hope that I have enough resources to make a dent in the second line. I do feel bad for those who are lower levels who are not quite able to get a mythic yet, but potentially we're going to get one this season. Now the lines are costing more, and if they are unable to do more than one discount line in the first couple weeks, it is going to be very challenging for them to make up the extra 10,000 sigils or so to finish that whole thing to get a mythic. However, as I said, it may be beneficial to get partial amounts of keys from the rider base boost and other rider line, because the first half of those lines are cheaper. So you may be able to get half of the keys from each of those lines for a much cheaper cost. I will have to give you more details on that once the season is released and I have more time to look at that. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you're as excited as I am, and I will definitely get you the details out next week when we are releasing those. Usually it's Tuesday morning, so keep an eye out for those details, and we'll see you in the next video.